Good day. This is the last drawing, the last gate, the ninth gate from the movie The Ninth Gate. The last drawing that I'll discuss. After this, I might post a couple of videos or maybe one or two with a few thoughts I still had on the movie, but I don't know. I might, I don't know. But this series is concluded after this, and this is the last one. And it is the one with the woman sitting on the seven-headed beast in front of the castle that is on fire in the AT drawings, and from which the rising sun emerges from behind in the LCF drawing. And since it's the LCF, Lucifer, it's probably the sunrise, the morning star, the enlightenment, the point of enlightenment, that point where the mind is cleared of all doubts. Because every shadow, every dark corner of the mind has suddenly been illuminated with enlightenment. And also, when that happens, it could be a reference to death. It could be meaning that it's no longer an issue. And that is, it's no longer a problem in any way. It doesn't matter anymore. The clock has run out. You will either depart this life in a hell of your own making, or you won't. And I think that is the point of this drawing. It's a warning against that, is to not depart life in a hell of your own making. And many spiritual traditions do warn against that. That in the afterlife you might encounter trouble. Now, in the afterlife, yes, I do believe in an afterlife. Many spiritual traditions believe in an afterlife, which I don't mean in a Christian sense as we'll go to heaven. I do believe that after death we go through an ordeal. Maybe not an ordeal, but we go through the spirit world, the underworld. That sounds bad, but it's not really. We all go there and we just... Who knows what we really do there? But I do believe we go through a sort of underworld, spirit world, before we are reincarnated. How long we stay there, maybe that has to do with how we departed life. We hear about ghosts of people that are particularly nasty people, that seem to not be able to reincarnate, or at least a part of their soul stays here and torments the people that they hated in life, or anybody really, because they were nasty people. I do personally believe that some souls don't reincarnate and will become demons. That there is a part in the Norse traditions that speak of that, the realm of the damned souls. It has to be pretty bad before you end up there. Don't assume you're going to end up there just because you may have been an asshole in life. It's not bad enough for that. We all are assholes at some point in our life, either by happenstance or self-preservation, or because we just really have it in for somebody. It happens. It happens to everybody. And to deny that, well, if you deny that, then the 8th gate or the 8th drawing has been completely lost on you. And there's nothing I can or even want to do about that. Anyway, the woman that is sitting on the seven-headed beast is obviously a reference, a biblical reference to the Whore of Babylon, which I think it is only in there because of that biblical reference, and the whole series has been drenched in Christian mysticism. Now, yes, we could go back through all the drawings and maybe come to more alchemical conclusions, but I just want to talk about the generality of it. Also, that would be such a long video I don't really want to make. In any case, the woman on the beast, that beast is probably I'm going to make this comparison to your daemon. And the woman is you, your higher self or your soul. And that castle behind it was your life, your path through this life. And you've come to the end. This daemon that this woman is riding on, which is your daemon, your spirit. It represents all your passions, ambitions, all your wants in life. Everything you fought for. It is something that you need to be in control of. Because if you're not in control of it, then it will run away with you, take you to places you don't want to go. On the other hand, if you dominate the daemon, dominate your soul or try to extinguish its force, then it will go nowhere and you will stand still. And that's just it. You stand still. This is, I think, at least in part, the plight of the NPC. They don't go anywhere because the spark in them is extinguished or was never there. Who really knows? Are they born or are they created? Who knows? That book that woman is holding describes all the things that you did in life. This is your own consciousness. And that woman is your higher self, your most ideal self, your most ideal, an idealized self, the best version of you. And this thing upon death confronts you with your actions in life. Will you depart life in a hell of your own making, which is what happened to Balkan? He died in the flames, a literal hell of his own making. Now, if Balkan had maybe looked a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper into these 3 books himself, he might have discovered all of these secrets for himself, but he didn't. He wanted to pluck the fruits of another man's labor. This other man was Corso. And in the end, natural law just doesn't work that way. And Balkan got what he could have seen was coming for him if he had just done the work himself, rather than rely on lessers, on serfs, because in the end that serf superseded him in every way. Well, that castle representing life in the AT drawing is on fire, in the same way that Balkan ended up departing this life in flames. Are you the type of person that burns bridges wherever they go, that picks fight with everybody, who cannot let go of a grudge, who gets upset and angry at the mildest inconvenience or the mildest perceived slight? That is what is waiting for you. That is not to say in any Christian or Abrahamic sense of you are doomed because God has ordained it so. No, it is simply you plucking the fruits of your own labor. You will die in a hell of your own making if you go through life as a shit person. Like the saying, live by the sword, die by the sword. Or maybe you have made your whole life making enemies, that when it is finally your time to depart this life, maybe it will be at the hands of those people. Or in some ironic twist of fate, you may be wishing for friends while you are on your deathbed, somebody to care for you, somebody to love you, and there will be nobody. This is a hell of your own making. Now, this sounds a little preachy, but it is generally true that, and there are historical people that we can talk about who have said the same thing. Not in the least Emperor Augustus from Rome, who said on his deathbed that he has been wearing a mask his whole life, and that was his biggest regret in life. This man was the most powerful man in Europe and the Mediterranean region during his life, during the last part of his life. This man was pretty much unprecedented, the amount of power he had. And on his deathbed, he had one big regret, that he was never his authentic self. There is a lesson to be learned from that, I think. So if you go through life being your authentic self, meaning doing the things that you enjoy doing, that give you joy to do. Yes, we all need to do things that are a bit less enjoyable, but during the course of your life, do you find satisfaction in the small things? Or every day you are angry and bitter? This is a terrible way to live. And that is, I think, what this card warns you about the most. Even Christian mysticism says this, that hell is of your own making, that heaven is within the person, meaning that it can be achieved while being alive. It is a state of mind. And I think that is what this enlightenment, the Luciferian enlightenment, ultimately points to, is that being miserable and being angry all the time, going through life making enemies and just being a rather shit person throughout your life is a choice. A choice that at all times you had the option not to make. And at some point, there always comes the moment to pay for them. This is this karma? Maybe some would call it that. Is this natural law? I would think so. If you go through life like that, you're not going to make many friends. You're not going to find much enjoyment in life. Now, is enjoyment the only thing worth having in life? Well, yes and no. Perhaps satisfaction and contentness is a better word. Are you a content person? Do you find happiness in the small things? Does that mean you have to go through life being absolutely out of your mind happy at the smallest thing that happens? No, of course not. That would be mania, and there is a downfall from that sooner or later. You cannot maintain that high level of emotionality all the time. Thomas Sheridan said this too in his own videos, that happiness is a baseline of contentness. You can have highs and lows from that, but the baseline is tranquil. It is enjoyable. It is not unenjoyable, even though sometimes things happen that are not enjoyable. The baseline is always that of, I feel calm and I feel tranquil. That is a good way to live. Now, how do you achieve that? That is up to the person themselves, of course. But I think that is basically what this card tells you the most. Is that the Reaper, the Grim Reaper, will come. And when he comes, will you depart this life in agony and anger and bitterness? Or will you depart in peace? And that was it. Thank you for listening.